Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy 3 Stacks in this thing, and today we're going over an update on my cubic deck profile. This deck is very strange, and it's one of those decks that makes you so pissed off when you lose to it because you look at it and be like, this deck is trash, but for some reason I just lost to it. It works very, very well. It has a powerful functionality. And this monster alone has an extremely high ceiling and about 2/3 of the playing field. There's a lot of great matchups that you have because of how this monster works. In Spiral format, this was literally the basically like the bane of their existence. There was nothing much that they can really do against this card. He's still really powerful. He's the main reason why this deck is competitive, and also its OTK aspect and the ability to drop this fusion, which is practically going to be game. The burn damage is crazy. The way this deck goes off and the way it functions is just so unexpected. It's one of those sleeper decks. It definitely is. And let's go ahead and hop into the main deck without further ado. So starting off with your cubic monsters, you're playing 3 Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. This card is literally unaffected by pretty much activated monster effects whose original attack is equal or less than his attack. He can attack twice. And during each of your end phases, you inflict 3,000 damage to both players. There's some really, really cool ways that you can either tie up the match or just end the game just by sitting on him. Because he's really, really strong and he's hard to get over. But basically, you can OTK with just this card and Cubic Wave. You're going to put him at 6,000. He's going to attack twice for 6,000 over monsters. And during the end phase, he's going to finish the job for you. There are even games when literally, like, I've been at 3,000 or less. My opponent's been at 3,000 or less. And we both die at the same time. Because it doesn't say you take 3,000, then your opponent take 3,000. It says both players take 3,000. So he can literally just tie up the match. Like, he almost guarantees so many victories. This card is absurd. It's like, if it was generic, it would have been banned a long time ago. He's like a High Priestess. You reveal 3 cubics to special him. Then you have the second best card in the deck. He's the engine, Yugioh. Without this card and without this card, this deck is nothing. These 6 cards are the reason why this deck can function, the reason why it's so powerful, and why it has like a really high ceiling in so many matchups. Dude's just going to Fool's Burial any cubic cards. It's not once per turn. He's going to start your engine right up by dumping your Karma or your Trap, and you're just going to go off from there. When you see Yugioh, you're winning. 3 copies of Summoner Monk, similar to Yugioh. You need to see Yugioh more. This is going to tutor out your Yugioh, and that's going to be already. Monk plus a spell is game time. It's like so easy to just get it popping. Once the engine starts rolling, it's really hard to counter this deck, and it's really hard to understand and pinpoint when and where to stop it. Monk is just such a powerful play starter. You need to only resolve 1 Monk, but you play 3 because you want to see it. Yugioh is the most important card in your deck. If you're not seeing Yugioh, you're really probably not going to win the duel. 3V Jam, he is pretty much the core of the deck, the combo piece that every single one of these cards, almost every single one of them revolves around. He's like the engine or the iron core of Kwakimaru for the deck. They need this to function. A lot of the combos, a lot of the monsters all say fetch a Yugioh from grave. You need 3 of this in your deck. He's pretty cool. Like, he can be destroyed by battle, and he distributes cubic counters for whatever monster he battles. And cubic counters are cool because they like make a monster unable to be used. Like, you can't attack, like no effects, nothing. They're just there. And then you have 1 Emperor, 1 Behemoth. These cards are also insane. They're literally +4s. So you summon these by dropping 3 cubics from your field to the grave. It seems excessive, it seems impossible, but it's actually easy because of Yugioh and Unification. So pretty much he's going to be 3,000 and he can attack 3 times. This card's going to be 2,400 and he burns your opponent for 800 when he's summoned. And then if these cards are sent from the field to the graveyard by your opponent's card effect, whether it's battle or card effect, as long as they're sent from the field to the grave, you special summon 3 cubic monsters from your graveyard and add 1 cubic card from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. I'd say these are like a +3 or +4 because you're going to special 3 Yugiohs, get 3 effects, get 3 searches plus the search of this. This also allows you to add your Lord from grave to hand to just recycle your engine. These cards are, when you drop these are trump cards. These are going to secure your victory. And it's insane. Like, you can even loop them where you use this to add this, and then when this leaves, you use this to add this. Because the only way you can summon them is from hand, unless you're using Unification, and in that case, like, it's just so good. These are crazy. Like, they add so much resources. It's just insane. Then we have 1 Vulcan Dragni and 2 copies of Gaia. I don't play the beasts in this deck. I play the kings. I prefer the kings because they're easier to resolve. There is a lineage of royalty in cubics. You have King, King, Emperor, Lord, and then you have Beast, Beast, and then Behemoth. And all of them are kind of different. The Beasts are more aggro, meaning that they have to destroy monsters by battle to go off, but it's like a higher payout. But the Kings do burn damage, like 800 every time they're summoned, and all they have to do is battle to resolve their effects. So they don't have to destroy anything by battle. They just have to battle, and then they're going to resolve their effects, which is going to be searching and special summoning every single time. So they always pay for themselves. You send 1 cubic to summon him, you send 2 to summon him. And these climb up the ladder. You're going to use his effect, search him, use his effect, search him, then use his effect, search everything. So I really like it. 2 Yugioh is really good because it also combos well with your Prisma. You can do like a really nutty combo with Foolish. You Foolish your trap, and then you can normal summon this guy, dump a Lord, he becomes the Lord. Then you use Yugioh to send him from the field to the grave to summon himself, trigger your unification, bring out Yugioh. There's a lot of cool combos that the Prisma, it incorporates into your deck just by playing him. And also he helps me because this deck is a little bit catered to the fusion. It's not necessarily like only the fusion. It's not a one-trick pony. It does a lot more. But I like the fusion so much that I actually play cards that help me to make him. And half of your deck is what's going to make the fusion. Then we have 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. It's the best spell in this deck. It's very versatile. It can either search or it can dump your trap. It can also just load your grave for the target that you want for your Behemoth or your Emperor. There's no reason to not play 3 of this because when you see this, this is more Yugioh. So you have 3 Yugioh, then you have 6 more ways to see it, which is this and the Summoner Monk. So that's 9 out of your 40 cards, which is basically 1/4 of your deck. Then we have 3 Fusion Conscription. This is going to search your Nova. If you're planning on using him, you don't want to activate this, but if you know you don't need to summon him right now, this will search your Nova, so your next turn you could just drop him, either OTK or just fuse using 3 of them. So Fusion Conscription is really, really strong. I like it a lot. Then we also play 2 Fusion Recycling Plants and 2 Optimus Prime to search it. Reason being is because you're trying to get to your Poly, and instead of playing a bunch of copies of Poly, I actually like this because its ability to discard gets cards in my grave that I really need. Like when you open up with Cubic Waves and Karmas and also Unifications, those cards are very dead in your hand. They serve a better purpose in grave. In fact, the only way to really use it properly is in grave unless you have some other combo that you want to do. So the fact that this discards for cost, even if they Ash or Ogre it, I get a Cubic card in the grave that I need, then I can banish it and use its effect. So I was like, this is such a better engine than just playing like Polys and King of the Swamps. I used to play King of the Swamp and I used to play multiple Polys. Instead, I opted to do this now because it's a lot better. It has more synergy and more interactions through the middle of your duel where you don't even have to, you don't need the Poly that it searches, but you do need the discard. And instead of playing 3 of this, I just wanted 2 Optimus Prime to increase my ability to deck in, because like shuffling cards before you draw, it helps. And then you have 3 copies of Karma. Karma is going to be part of your searching engine. On activation, it's going to boost a Cubic basically by 2400 attack by dumping your seeds. Then from grave, it can banish itself to search any Cubic monster from deck to hand. It has an insane effect that I've never resolved before, but if you special summon Vijam during your opponent's turn, you send this card from the field to the grave and you halve your opponent's life points. And you're going to finish the job just by using the Lord to burn for 3000. Then you have 2 Pot of Desires. Honestly, the only thing I care about banishing in this deck is my Unifications. I'm not always trying to fuse, so I don't need 3 Lords in the deck. As long as I have 1 Yugioh, I'm really fine. Pot of Desires is very necessary because sometimes it's the Ash bait you need to resolve your Yugioh, to resolve your Monk, to pretty much resolve a lot of the cards that you need. And also, it's a really, really good comeback if you do top deck it, or if you, like in the middle of your combo, it gets interrupted. The Pot of Desires can help you to grab an additional combo piece so that you don't have to stop there, but you can continue through your push. And then 3 Cubic Waves. This card is insane going second. It's literally going to OTK every single time. And its graveyard effect is so great. When I'm playing against True Dracos, I want to use Foolish Burial Goods, dump my wave, and then banish it from the grave and put a Cubic counter on Masterpiece. Now Masterpiece is unusable. He's frozen. He can't do his effect. It doesn't matter because he's always going to be Trap Monster. And if he's not Trap Monster and he's Spell Monster, I'm just going to run him over by activating this and doubling my monster's attack, which is insane. So this card is going to kill Masterpiece either way. But it targets a Cubic and 1 monster on the field. And it shrinks 1 monster's attack by half and then doubles the attack of the Cubic monster. And it's not once per turn. Then from grave, you banish it in any number of Cubics, and you distribute that number of Cubic counters on monsters that your opponent controls. Monsters and Cubic counters cannot be used. There's no effects, there's no attacks. They're useless. They're just sitting there. You can only link summon with them. So Cubic Wave is insane. Just having this card and it being searchable, tutorable through your deck and searchable through this guy who's on the artwork and the Behemoth and other cards. It increases your ceiling in the True Draco matchup, which would be the worst matchup because Masterpiece really don't care about this card. But also at the same time, Masterpiece can never destroy this. They have to use the trap to get over it because Masterpiece's original attack is 2950. So this monster can always ram him over after you get rid of the diagram. So this deck doesn't really struggle against a lot of decks that are in the meta right now. Really, it loses to itself because like it can brick sometimes. And when it bricks nasty. So 3 Cubic Waves, 1 Poly because it's searchable, and the field spell adds it from the graveyard to the hand. So there's literally no good reason for you to play more than one of this card. Like, the only reason would be is if you're trying to like not banish it off Desires. But if you banish it off Desires, this is not your win condition. It's just an alternative method for your win conditions. Then you have 1-ups, Monster Reborn, and Soul Charge. That's pretty much going to sum up your spells. It's a turbo deck. You really don't play traps. But the traps that you do play are like probably the 3rd best card in your deck, which really it sometimes is the best. I only have 2 unifications, but this should be 3 because this trap is really necessary at 3. There's a 2-card combo where you go through all 3 of it. I only own 3 because one of mine is missing, but I'm definitely going to bump it to 3 once I get the 3rd. This is going to fuse. Its trap effect is the fusion summon. Its effect in grave is the best one. You can banish it from the grave if a cubic monster leaves the field, or if it's destroyed by battle. So your opponent can kaiju you and you'll use this. If a cubic monster leaves the field, you banish it and special 1 cubic monster level 4 or lower from your hand or your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. It also cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects the turn it's summoned through this effect. So this is solid. This is how you're going to bring out these guys. This is why I never ever actually send 3 cubic monsters from my field to the grave to summon these, even though you can once you resolve one. But you're going to summon these ignoring their summoning conditions, and then whenever they get sent from the field to the grave by any means, they're going to special 3 and then automatically search. Now for the extra deck, we play 1 Crimson Nova Trinity. This card is insane. I'm going to read his effect to you. He has to be fusion summoned. He can't be summoned by other ways. He can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. When he declares an attack, you have your opponent's life points. If he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, he can attack again. So he's going to half. He's literally going to win the duel by himself. Like, he's at 45. He's going to declare an attack, have your life points to 4,000. Kill a monster, inflict the damage of whatever the difference between his attack and that monster's attack is. Then attack again, have your life points again, and kill you. This card is always going to win you the duel every time you resolve it. And it gets worse. Any effect damage that you take, whenever you take effect damage, you inflict that damage to your opponent equal to the damage you took. So this is going to literally say Crimson Nova burns you for 6,000 instead of burning both of us for 3,000. It also, in the Trickstar matchup, you can't lose. Like, they can't get over this and they can't burn you. So Trickstars are automatically going to lose this card because both of their methods to beat you, they can do neither. Like, Scapegoat is the only way. Then you play a lot of links. Topo is the best one because you're always going to be summoning it through like the link combo, and then Unification is going to drop a cubic that can be destroyed, so he's just going to Raigeki. And then you have, of course, these float. So when these float and drop the Dujas, this will trigger again. So it's a really solid link. It's easy to go into in this deck. You have your Firewall. You have your Skull Dread. Borlo's the hardest one to make. You can only do it if you really resolve these and summon 3. But either way, like, it's still an option and you want to keep it in your arsenal because it's a great card. Then you have Link 3s, Decode, and Trigate. Then 2 Link 2s, well 3. You have 2 Proxies and Akashic. Akashic's only here for the combo when you do double Duja. Double Duja, they're the same type. And you're basically just going to Akashic and bounce whatever's in your way. It's nice to have her because she doesn't target and she doesn't destroy. Then you have XYZs, 2 rank 10s, the Dreadnoughts, and then 4 rank 4s. The ones that come up the most are these. This is for the Draco matchup, and this is for like anything. Now, if we have enough time, let me see. We're about 14 minutes in. I'm going to show you really fast the 2-card combo that my boy Latrell from Team FPS taught me. I didn't even know about this combo until I met him. He's more of a cubic master than I am. So, Summoner Monk at any spell. Let's say the spell, well, you can't really, realistically, let's put it like a 3 of, right? It's great when you dump Karma with Monk because you're going to search. But let's say it's Cuba Wave, right? So you're going to normal Monk, pitch your Wave, special summon from your deck a Duja. And let's just grab all 3 Dujas because you're going to go through all of them. So let's special summon the first Duja. Use his effect. You're going to dump your Unification of the Cubic Lords. Then you're going to Link Summon. You're going to summon out your Proxy Dragon. Then separate Chain Link this Cubic monster left the field. Banish this. special summon another Yugioh, activate his effect, dump your, let's pretend like this is the second copy, because I only have 2 right now. Dump the second copy of Unification, and then you're going to link again. Go into a link 3, you know, you could go into Decode, for example, because it's 2 effect monsters, and then you're going to special summon this by banishing the Unification. His effect's going to activate again. You're going to dump the 3rd Unification. Then you're going to link, and this time you can go into Firewall or you can go into Topo. Normally I go into Topo because he's pretty solid, all well-rounded link 4. And then finally, you're going to banish this Unification. You have 3 Cubics engraved. Now you're going to summon out your one of your alternative win conditions, which is going to be Emperor. He can't be destroyed, so even though Topo will trigger, he's not going to be destroyed. And now what this does is it sets you up extremely well, because whenever this gets sent from the field to the grave, it's going to summon all 3 of these back, right? He's going to trigger. These are going to get destroyed anyways, but they're going to dump 3 cubic karmas. I'm sorry, and this effect is going to resolve too, so he's going to add a cubic card from deck or grave. You're going to add a Nova, right? You're going to dump all 3 of these. These get destroyed. Your opponent gets Raigeki'd. Then your follow-up, right? Whatever card you draw doesn't matter. You're going to banish all 3 of these. Search 3 cubic monsters. You're going to search another Nova and like these random cards, right? Or maybe a Vijay. Then you're going to go ahead and I'm sorry, the card that you really need to search is actually this is what matters. You're supposed to search the not the Lord, but the cubic wave. Then the 3 karmas are going to search the Lord and this, and you're going to reveal these 3. You're going to special summon him. If you read him, whose original attack is 3,000 or less. So even when you summon him under Topo, Topo's going to destroy the field, but he's not going to die because he's unaffected by Topo. So it's a perfect combination. So even this right here is going to be game if they don't have response, because you can attack for 6,000 and then in-phase burn them for 3,000. But let's say they still have monsters after you Raigeki them. You're going to just activate your wave, double his attack, and then that's going to be game. That's pretty much it for the cubic deck profile, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. That combo's lit. And shout outs to Latrell from Team APS. That's my boy, man. We go back, I think, at least, what, 2 years back? That's when I met him. And he's like a really, really good cubic player. We both bounce ideas around. But I definitely wanted to show you guys that combo because it's insane. I love y'all. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Stay tuned for future content, and you'll be hearing from me soon. Peace.